Righty, section 4, week 4 in CIT48A. And this week we cover hardware. And we continue with working on your essay or doing your darknet, your next one. And at this point in the semester, right, we are quickly approaching the midpoint of the semester. So hopefully you've been reaching out. I've heard from many of you about your grades and questions that you might have. And some of you have interacted on Discord. I haven't seen a lot of activity there. So still consider that on an ongoing basis if you would. So what I'd like to do in this video, besides remind you where we're at, and remember at that halfway point, which I believe is next Friday, I will actually post the date. I will find it for the last date to drop. Now, I don't recommend it at this point. You can still get caught up. Doing late work in this class is diminished, and it definitely you want to reach out to me before the due date in order for you and I to have a discussion about what that's going to look like. So just make sure you're following those up, and then make sure you're look right rescue kitty right here. Make sure you're also seeing my feedbacks. I think feedback. Believe most of you are. You've gotten my feedback around your discussion posts, around your drafts. So if you're not seeing my feedback, make sure you go look at your grade and see those. Okay, let's take a look. So this week it's all about the hardware as far as what the quizzes that you're taking. Now, in addition to that, right, normal layout, here's the PDF, here's the videos from IT Pro, here's the quizzes from them, and then the quiz for the hardware. Now, this week, in addition to our other items, you have your midterm. So this midterm is going to cover all the content we've covered so far. I do allow 5 attempts, so consider this if your intention is to take IT fundamentals exam for certification, uh, each time you would have to, go take that test again. So remember that the idea here is the more you take these exams, meaning like the computer hardware one from the PDF, it is really good to actually take them multiple times during these practice because that's the idea of why you're here. Okay. All right, so let's roll back up and look at our discussion. This week, I've decided to throw some new content because I think it's important to understand this concept, which is capture the flag. So I know there's been at least one or two mentions in this class so far of, do you know about capture the flag? Have you done capture the flag? So if you haven't done capture the flag, you're going to learn about it this week. And if you have done capture the flag, which is kind of the two paths I give you here, right? Then tell us about one of your latest attempts, the last one you attempted, or maybe one recently. So let's first just kind of make sure we're clear. I've provided some links here. First to have you heard, have you heard of capture the flag? And I've linked to a Wikipedia article, which I would definitely recommend checking out to give you that idea. But it's basically like an exercise slash competition for educational purposes to allow professionals, students, anyone to really level up on their cybersecurity skills. And there's flags hidden in various ways, and you have to learn you have to learn to implement the cybersecurity techniques in order to capture those flags, right? You might think of capture the flag as the old traditional game of, when you were kids. Maybe you ever played it. I never did, but this is the digital version that is really there to help you. So, check it out. In addition to this, I've also given, and that's my second link here, is I've given just a Google search for capture the flag sites, okay? Because there are definitely sites in this list, like Hack the Box is very popular. I use one called Pico, which I think somebody else mentioned as well, but you could check these out, right? So these are generally free. Don't ever pay for one of these unless they are offering you some kind of additional benefit to doing that. Maybe they're prepping you for some type of a test, but just be cautious like anything else. Know what you're getting into. But like I said, Hack the Box is a very popular one. And what you can do is sign up. Like I signed up at Pico when I found out about it a couple months ago. So I just played around for a little bit. I signed up at picoctf.com. And now that I'm in here, I went to the practice. Like there's these wonderful practice challenges. Because what happens is when they typically do a part of the year, actually go and run competitions. Okay, for this stuff where you're competing against folks, but these practices, and at least on the Pico side, I haven't signed up for all these sites, so I can't tell you for sure. So, pick the one you might want to check out. I think this is a good one. So, like as an example, I just went through a couple just to kind of check it out, and they definitely got more and more challenging as you get in. So, for those of you new in this, you might want to find some of the the general skill ones, the beginning ones. So, and then you can check out, right? So you can check out what it is you're going to do. Now, it's not that you have to solve these; you have to capture the flag. The purpose of our discussion, and this is where I break down the two paths, right? If you've done any CTF, right, capture the flag recently, right, then tell us when you've attempted, and tell us in detail, right? Even if some of us don't fully completely comprehend all the things that you did, you writing about it and linking to external definitions, kind of like what I've had students do in the Darknet diaries, right? So talk about the challenge and the solution. And then provide links, right, to maybe the site. Now, in this case, because you have to log in, that might be a little, a little more challenging. So you could maybe just tell us, here's the challenge I did. Uh, Right. If possible, and that's what I said here, if possible, because like I showed you on this site, you have to actually log in. So if I went to the obedient cat, right? So flag in plain sight, download the flag, right? So then you could go through and attempt it. It actually gives you some hints over here, which is awesome. And I was able to do that one. And then with my writing, what I would do is talk about the things that I had to figure out in order to do that. But if I wasn't able to do it, that's not a problem either, because this is something as you learn, as you grow in your skill, you will do. Then you would take the second path, right? If not, if you haven't done any of these, right, then look on YouTube or whatever site you use, and then select a video that walks through a challenge. Now, where this gets kind of interesting is you at least want to know the name of it. Like I showed you the Pico one where I said obedient cat. So what I did is I went to YouTube, I typed in obedient cat, which was the first one, Pico CTF. So look at this. Here's all the videos that somebody produced showing you. And I actually think this one from John Hammond was the best. As a matter of fact, it's the one I watched. And so what's great about this is he not just talks about it, but he gives you some of the background of it. So if you're choosing these paths, right? Because here's what I'm going to say is if you just went to capture the flag, right, on YouTube, um, right, then you could find out about some of these hackers. Yeah, so this might be, now this is also searching based on my results, right? But you could find some of these as well. But what I really want you to do here is, right, look at some of these sites, look at some of the sites that I've provided here, and consider signing up to one of them. Again, make sure they're free, and look at some of the beginning challenges, right? But if what you ultimately want to do is find a video that you watch, and then what you're going to talk about is your uh, select the video, walk through the solution that you feel has some basic, that you have some basic understanding of how it was accomplished. You don't have to completely understand it, because trust me, these things are going to get progressively more challenging, right? Each student does need a different video, right? So make sure you do that, and then then in your post discuss the challenge and the solution. You're both basically doing this, except for the student who hasn't done any of this, they'd be finding videos videos. Now, for the students who have, they may also have something they lean in there. But the thing I've said before is make sure you're writing substantively, okay? Make sure what you're writing about is actually thoughtful. Sometimes it's hard for me, and I mentioned this last week, is when I'm looking at a post, I really look for thoughtfulness in the post. And unfortunately, sometimes that correlates to length. And I'm so tempted, but I'm not going to say this amount of writing, but just know that you need to be substantive in your writing. Okay. Okay, so like before, do this right away. Now, like before, it shows right the due dates. We've talked about all that. So now, in your replies, what do I want to see? I need to actually put that here. So let me talk about it. So I want you to, in your reply, look, of course, read what the other student wrote. Right, add to something. Right, add something to that. Maybe you have done one of those. And for those of you that haven't done it, check out somebody who has, right? So try to really look at a variety of student posts, not just sometimes I notice students tend to reply to the first couple on the list. So look around. So what again, make sure the substantive post that you've done here and then a substantive reply about what they've provided. And again, links are really good here. Links to terms that you may have found in doing the research for this. Okay, so that is the discussion this week. I hope you enjoy it. It is something that you're going to see as you continue on this path. So let's talk about the last item that you have for this week 4. I scrolled too far back. Okay, so for this week 4, now after your midterm, what you'll do is if you're working on the essay, right, here's what you want to do. Make sure you fixed any feedback myself or classmates have given you, right? Make sure that you have between 3.5 and 4 pages of content. Ask somebody because you'll be adding content. I don't think I saw anybody, maybe a few with already 4, because if you already had that much, then you were refining it. And then ask somebody to proof it for you to turn in your final draft, right? And then turn in your final draft as a PDF. And then it just kind of gives some what's next. And this is not what you need to do this time. This is what you'll do starting next week is you'll start thinking about the presentation. Okay. So what you will do is create or output a PDF for your final copy of this. If you're doing darknet, then here's what you want to do is choose your second video in your list. Do this work. Now, this is important for the darknet folks. The diaries is in the same file as you completed the first video. So remember all this writing needs to go in the same one. Make sure you fixed any feedback from myself or your classmates. Listen, this is from last time. Listen to the entire video, audio should say, and write about what you feel you learn and what you feel is important. Remember, some of you are kind of giving me the summary of what happened in there. You can do that, but really what I want to read in your writing is what you learned from this. Okay. Now, one thing I gave most of you feedback, and I'm just going to say it here, is that the links that I want you to do minimum of 7 really should be at this point going forward integrated in this one. Okay. I list them here, but I want you to know in the writing that you've done here, I don't really want these as just links separately. I want them integrated. It just flows better. Okay, and then if you like, this is already kind of up here, but if using the formatting, the essay is already done. If you have any feedback from me, make sure you fix that. And then I provided again the example I did before. I'm actually going to look for an updated example. One of your classmates did a really nice job, and I'm wanting to share that one. And now for you, after you've done the second one, start thinking about how you would give your classmates a presentation. Now, for these presentations, it's not going to be the same as the essay. All you will have to do is really just talk about what you learned from from watching these videos. I think we might not do all 5. I think we'll do a max of 3, but I like that we have 5 in yours. All right. So once you're done here, create your PDF and upload here. Okay, so you're both uploading PDFs, just different topics and different ways of going about it. And then we will next week start talking about what these presentations. And next week, Darknet will do their third one, and then you SA folks will draft your presentations. Okay, so a lot this week, including where we're at in the semester, our midterm, a lot of quizzes like before, focused on hardware, peripherals, CPUs, displays, storage, and then, like I said, that midterm. So make sure you're staying on track, reaching out for help when you need it. All right, I think that's it for me. I hope you have a great week, and thanks for being with us. Have a good one. Bye.